Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode. So this episode is more geared towards my anxiety girls, my acoustic girls, and my neurodivergent girls, okay? Y'all, we have to remember that we look at life differently than most people do. And when I say most people, I'm saying neurotypical people. And this is new to me. I'm still learning about this. I've taken the time to learn more about myself this way. And I've always known that I was a little different. And with this new knowledge, I took a look back at my childhood. And I think a lot of my anxiety stems from the experiences that I had as a child. So I think I've always been neurodivergent, but the anxiety came later. And I can remember when I was a little kid and not really understanding what people were asking of me, and they would get frustrated. Like maybe some of you don't know what it looks like. So, for example, for me, it was being told to do something and not given direct instructions. Like I wouldn't be told exactly what to do. So I had to ask a question to make sure that I was doing it right. And I would get yelled at for that. I would get punished for that. And it was always kind of tough for me because I was between two different households, between my mom house and my auntie house, because my mom worked a government job, so she didn't have a lot of off time. So when I was on spring break or I was on summer break or, fall break and stuff, I'll go over my auntie's house. And it was tough because my mom was very patient and understanding with my learning. And she was gentle with teaching me things. So when I would go to my aunt's house, it was a lot different because my auntie had 3 kids and she took other people's kids in, and she had older kids around. And that household was not as patient. And everything was one way of learning things, or just never taught at all and just expect you to know shit. So I had a different learning style, and I wasn't like her kids. So if somebody was, okay, let me think. Yeah, if somebody was to ask me to do something, I would need them to really explain how they want it done and give me the details. Because the way my mind works, my brain looks at it with more than just one outcome. Like, follow me here. Like, my brain has maybe like 3 or 4 different ways to get to the object of the task that you've asked me to do. Like, I need you to tell me exactly which one I need to do. Like, I need people to be specific in what they're asking me for. So that I can do it to the best of my ability. And I was always frustrated at that house because I felt misunderstood and I would get made fun of for it. Like, I remember my cousin telling me, like, she was one of my first bullies. She would be like, that's why they think you slow. Like, that's why you're not smart. And that shit really fucked with me. Like, okay, for example, let me try to break it down for you. Let's say if you had marbles on the table, right? And you said, go get a marble and bring it to me. Okay, in my mind, I'm thinking, do you want me to get a certain color? Do you want me to get a certain size? Like, there's so many possibilities that it could be. And in this instance, if it was my auntie saying that, go get a marble and bring it to me, and I would go get a marble and bring it back, I would get yelled at or get cussed out for bringing back the wrong one. And it's like, okay, but you was never specific about what exactly you wanted. And if I ask, is there a certain size or certain color you want me to get, I would get in trouble for that. Like, I would get yelled at for asking so that I can do it right. Like, do y'all know how frustrating that is? And like how hurtful that is to a child who's trying to understand what you're saying, but you just yelling at them and they're really trying their best to do it right. And in order for them to do it right, they have to ask you, but you getting frustrated. Like, think about how that could affect them. And it's different because my mom would be like, the way my mom would teach me, she would be like, go grab the red marbles off the table to your left. Because my mom knew the way that I learned, and she knew which way to teach me or which way to tell me something so that I would do my best. Like, she knew how to say it and how to explain it so that I would do it correctly and that I would excel at it. And that's why I always say it's nothing like your mother. Like, yeah, other people are around, but it's nothing like your mom, because my mom knew how to explain things in a way that my brain would understand it. And I was never belittled for not knowing something. I was encouraged not to know things so that I could ask and inquire so that later on I will know. You know? But everybody is not like that. And I had to realize that as I got older. So this led to people thinking that I was slow or that I was just dumb. But in actuality, I had a different learning style. And back then, early 2000s, the times were not advanced as they are now to identify that most people are not neurotypical. And the Black community already is late to a lot of things, especially things that have to do with psychology and developmental challenges or quote unquote challenges that people have. Like, the Black community is just, there's like, for example, there's people out here who think that anxiety is not a real thing and depression is not a real thing. Like, please, the Black community just be doing whatever and think that nothing affects you mentally. If they can't see it, if they can't see you physically hurt, then it doesn't exist. You're not hurting, you're not injured in any way if they can't see it on you. And parents back then really didn't know what a lot of this stuff is now. So they just figured if you wasn't learning, that means that you slow. And I was afraid. So after a while, I became afraid to ask for clarification about things, even though that's what I was taught to do at home. My mom taught me, like, okay, ask questions. If you don't know, then just ask a question. Because you're a child. People are going to tell you, or somebody's going to teach you, especially at school. If you don't know, ask. And that's what I'm being taught. So when I go somewhere else and I do that and I ask and I'm being shut down and told I'm stupid and told that, for asking a question and needing more information, and I need you to be specific, that somehow I'm dumb. So, of course, I was scared to ask about things, and eventually I would do things wrong because I would be scared to ask. And I would do things, either I would do things wrong because I was scared to ask, or I would miss out on things that I needed, or miss out on things that would help me because I was afraid to ask people because I would get cussed out for asking. Or I would I would have to go through something because of that. And I was so used to people being impatient with me and getting angry with me that I just gave up. And it's like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry I can't understand that way. Like, I'm sorry, but I need your help. And it's like talking to somebody in a different language and getting mad at them because they don't understand you. Like, that's what it feels like to me. And it's like they just don't understand. So talk to them in a way that they're going to understand. But most people, they don't identify that they're doing something wrong to even begin to do that. Like they don't identify that they're doing something wrong, and that what they're doing, and it's not even like the word wrong, doing something wrong is a triggering word to some people. Like, okay, let's switch it up. The way that you're doing this isn't working. You can say that the way that you're doing this, the way that you're communicating with someone, or the way that you're showing someone isn't working. So how about let's try it this way? Let's try it that way. Like, people don't want to do the work of identifying that you're wrong and then saying, hey, let's go ahead and attack this from a different angle. So when people don't do that and take the time to learn and understand why something is not working, it'll never happen. And it leads to that person thinking that something is wrong with them because they're not getting it or they're not understanding. When it's nothing is wrong with either person. There's just a barrier there that needs to be shifted. And so when I was a child, I would have to remind people that I'm a child. I would literally have to be like, I'm a kid. Like, why are y'all like, what? So I already didn't know a lot of things to begin with. So it really hurt my feelings and made me think that something was wrong with me and that other people thought the same about me. And some things were not always due to neurodivergence or my brain chemistry. Sometimes it was just plain old stupid stuff. Just stupid stuff. Like, my auntie would say things and just expect for me to know what the hell she talking about. Like, I remember when I got my driver's permit, I was so excited and I was so happy because I didn't grow up having a car. So me learning how to drive and me passing my permit test on the first try, like, that shit was so amazing to me. And I was always worried that I would never learn how to drive and that I wouldn't get it. And so, I was excited, but nobody would really let me drive or take the time to let me drive. So I put my permit in one of my drawers in my room and I left it there until somebody was going to let me drive. So one day, I think about a week or two later, me and my auntie and my cousin was about to go to the store, and I get in the car and my auntie is like, okay, you got it with you? And I'm like, what? What? Do I have what with me? And she was like, yo, temp, where's your temp? And I'm like, what are you talking about? Where's your temps? Like, where's your permit? Where's your driving permit at? And she was just saying it like real mean and just real hateful, like, and I'm like, okay, it's upstairs in the room. Why you don't have it with you? You need to have it with you. Go get it. And I'm like, okay, but if nobody has let me drive, how the fuck am I supposed to know to have it with me? You didn't say, make sure you had this with you in your purse because we might go driving. Sometime here within the next couple of weeks, we might go driving, or make sure you just keep your permit on you at all times because you never know when we'll have time to go driving or whatever. No, nobody ever told me anything. So how do you expect me to know? And you talking to me all nasty and disrespectful. Like, Am I making sense, y'all? Like, do y'all see the shit I'm talking about? That kind of stuff will happen all the time about different things. And the impact that has had on me has lasted. And I struggle with asking for help and being sure about things. It's always some sirens going on, but that's still confirmation. But I struggle with asking for help or being sure about things because I haven't been sure in so many situations in my childhood, and I was punished for it. So I go into my shell a lot. And now when I'm out in the real world, it makes me afraid to ask people for things sometimes. I've gotten better with it now that I've been able to identify it and really focus on it. But it's hard for me to ask for what I need sometimes because I don't want to feel like I'm inconveniencing somebody. And that's why I get so upset when I need help and people are being rude to me, because it's like I'm trying to do my best and I'm actually giving this all of my effort and you're making it difficult for me. And I already don't want to do it anyways. Like, a lot of stuff I already don't even want to do, and I've had to build up the courage to do it anyway. And now I have to ask for help, and I'm being treated like you don't give a fuck. Like, that's something that I'm still working through. And honestly, y'all, I really hate that it made me this way. I really do. I hate that has made me this way, and that I have developed this anxiety. It's really important to think about you having depression, anxiety, memory loss, whatever it is, because anxiety and those types of traumatic things, it can lead to memory loss. Like, if it's a severe case, it can lead to memory loss. If you've been through a traumatic experience and you've dealt with so much shit, that really literally can lead to you having gaps in your memory. So when you think about the things that you deal with mentally, also think about why you might have the anxiety and point the finger where it needs to be pointed at. Place the blame where it needs to be placed at. Like, if it's coming from a specific person or it's coming from a specific household or a situation, then you have to identify that, as much as you probably don't want to. As much as you don't want nobody to feel like something is their fault. If it is, it just is. It just is, because that's going to help you get better. We ain't never going to be completely healed, but getting to where you're comfortable with living your everyday life and doing things and getting things done, that's important. It's important. Everybody should be comfortable for asking for what they need or asking for help, and I always am so shocked. That's part of it too. I'm always so shocked when I ask people for help. And it's so much of a relief when they're patient with me and they're like, oh yeah, I can help you and I can show you this and show you that. And, if you need me to do this for you, I can do this. If you need me to do that for you, I can do that. Like, it's a huge weight off of my shoulders, because I really struggle so bad with it. Like, so bad with it. So think about that, and think about why you do things the way you do them. It leads back to something. It's going to trace back to your childhood more than likely. It might trace back to your parents. It might trace back to your grandparents. It might trace back to your cousins, or something that happened to you. And something that happened consistently that never changed. So let's look at that, y'all. I don't know what the title of this episode is going to be, but yeah. So thank y'all for listening, and I have class this evening. Oh my goodness, I'll probably be posting some more on Instagram tonight, but y'all, this school is tearing my ass up, and the worst class ain't even started yet. Like, I got math to do. Oh my goodness. But thank y'all for listening, and I'll catch y'all in the next one.